Across the vast expanse of space, spanning countless systems and reaching the farthest corners of the known galaxy, a chilling transmission resonated from the Volarian Dominion, an empire known for its merciless conquests of thousands of star systems. This declaration was not a call for peace or a treaty of alliance. It was a cold and ruthless declaration of war aimed directly at humanity. Admiral Rannick of the Volarians, with his characteristic arrogance, proclaimed through the interstellar channels, "Humans, you are but a blight on the cosmos, a misstep in the evolutionary dance. Your existence will be expunged, erased as if you were never here. The Dominion shall ensure it." This ominous message echoed through human colonies, military bases, and Earth itself. Billions of humans clenched their fists in anger and defiance. For any other species, such a stark threat would spell inevitable doom. The Volarians, after all, had annihilated numerous civilizations before with their seemingly invincible war fleet. They anticipated fear, capitulation, perhaps even pleas for mercy. But humanity responded not with surrender, but with a signal that would define the spirit of their race. A single transmission was sent back to the Volarian Dominion's high command. It featured a lone human soldier, battle-weary yet unbroken, standing amidst the ruins of New Moscow on the colony world of Grom 4. His armor bore the scars of battle. His face was streaked with the blood of both friend and foe alike. He had witnessed firsthand the devastation wrought by the Volarian forces. With a grim yet almost amused smile, the soldier spoke with calm assurance. "Congratulations, Admiral Rannick. You just declared war on the galaxy's deadliest species." The transmission cut abruptly, and the silence that followed was pregnant with the promise of retribution. The stage was set for conflict on a scale the Volarians had not anticipated. Grom 4 became the first battleground where this new war would be tested. The Volarians expected an easy slaughter, a quick subjugation, as had always been their experience. But as their forces descended on the planet, expecting little resistance, they found themselves mired in a carnage that they could not have foreseen. Major Elias Carter, leading the human resistance on Grom 4, wiped the sweat and grime from his brow as he surveyed the battlefield from behind the remains of a shattered barricade. The Volarian bodies piled up, their dark blue blood a stark contrast against the gray ruins of what was once a bustling city. The alien invaders had expected to march through New Moscow unopposed. Instead, they met a ferocious enemy adept in guerrilla tactics, explosive traps, and a fierce, relentless determination. "Status!" Carter barked into his comms unit, ducking as a plasma bolt seared the air above him. "Holding, but we're low on ammo," Lieutenant Vasquez reported from the western sector, her voice strained over the sound of continuous gunfire. "These bastards just keep coming." Carter's face set into a hard line. The reality was stark. Grom 4 might well be lost. The Volarians had deployed a massive invasion force, and Earth's fleets were still regrouping, but the orders were clear. Make them bleed. "Hold as long as you can," he instructed firmly, "and if you have to fall back, leave them a parting gift." Vasquez's laugh was dark, tinged with the grim humor of the damned. "Already setting the charges," she replied, a note of grim satisfaction in her voice. As the battle raged, Carter turned his gaze to the horizon where Volarian war machines advanced, their plasma cannons obliterating entire blocks with each salvo. But the humans didn't falter. They struck from the shadows, ambushed from ruined buildings, and every inch of ground the Volarians took was paid for in blood. Unbeknownst to the Volarians, their underestimation of humanity's resolve and ingenuity was about to be their gravest mistake. News of the fierce resistance on Grom 4 began to spread across the galaxy, inspiring other subjugated species. And in a stunning turn of events that would send ripples through the cosmos, a small human strike team achieved the unthinkable. They captured a Volarian warship, the KD Varak, a juggernaut of the Dominion fleet. Inside the bridge of the commandeered ship, Captain Daniel Rohr surveyed his crew. Marines, engineers, and hackers all smeared with the gore of their enemies. "We actually did it," Lieutenant Harper murmured, disbelief mingling with awe in her eyes. "Damn right," Roar replied, a fierce grin splitting his face. "Now let's make sure it was worth it." As the captured warship turned its weapons against its former masters, the Valarians realized too late that they had not merely declared war against another species. They had ignited the wrath of humanity, and there would be hell to pay. The war for Grom 4 was just the beginning, and the galaxy watched in awe and terror. As the shock of humanity's bold counterstrike reverberated through the corridors of power across the Valarian Dominion, the High Council convened in a flurry of urgency and disbelief. The unthinkable had happened. A human strike team had not only breached the security of the KD Varak, one of the most formidable warships in the Dominion fleet, but had also turned it against its creators. This act of audacity was more than a military blunder for the Valarians. It was a devastating blow to their perceived invincibility. On the bridge of the hijacked KD Varak, Captain Daniel Roar and his crew prepared for their next move. The galaxy watched, holding its collective breath, as humanity wielded this newly acquired weapon with strategic precision. "Prepare to broadcast to all Dominion channels," Roar commanded, his voice steady but tinged with a vengeful satisfaction. "Let every Valarian outpost hear what happens when they cross humanity." Back on Grom 4, Major Elias Carter coordinated with his ground forces, exploiting the chaos sown by the news of the Varak's capture. "This is our chance," he rallied his troops. "The Valarians are reeling. Push forward with everything we've got. Today, we reclaim our soil." The human forces, bolstered by their unexpected naval support, launched a series of daring assaults across the colony. Guerrilla tactics, which had thus far defined the human resistance, evolved into more open confrontations. Human ingenuity and desperation turned into a formidable force, utilizing improvised weapons and the remnants of their battered defenses. Meanwhile, Admiral Kasari, overseeing Earth's space fleet operations, seized the moment to escalate the offensive. "Deploy the Third Fleet to Sector 7, she ordered, her eyes scanning the star maps. "If we can break their line there, we can surge through to the Aurelian Belt and cut off their supply routes." The dominion of the Valarians, once unchallenged rulers of vast swathes of the galaxy, found themselves on the defensive. Reports flooded in from various fronts, detailing human advances and Valarian retreats. What had started as a punitive expedition against a defiant species was quickly turning into a strategic nightmare for the Valarians. In the depths of space, other civilizations, long suppressed under the Valarian heel, began to stir. News of the human defiance and the capture of a Valarian battleship spread like wildfire, igniting sparks of rebellion on a dozen worlds. "If the humans can fight back, so can we," became a rallying cry among oppressed populations, leading to uprisings that stretched the Valarian military forces even thinner. Amidst the turmoil, a covert meeting was held on the human-controlled KD Varak. Captain Roar convened with his top officers and representatives from several allied species. "The Valarians are stretched thin," he analyzed, pointing to the holomap glittering with tactical data. "We have an unprecedented opportunity to shift the balance of power." Lieutenant Harper, now acting as the chief intelligence officer, added, "We've intercepted communications suggesting the Valarians are pulling forces back to protect their core worlds. They're scared, and they're consolidating." Roar nodded, his expression hardening. "Then it's time to take the fight to them. We'll use the Varak as the spearhead of our offensive. We've learned how to operate their systems, exploit their weaknesses. Let's turn their technology against them." Back on Grom 4, as the day turned to night, the skyline that was once dominated by the silhouettes of Valarian warships now flickered with the lights of human resistance. Major Carter stood amidst his battle-weary soldiers, their faces illuminated by the light of burning debris. "Look around you," he addressed his troops, his voice carrying over the crackling fires. "Today, we fought not just for our home, but for our place in the galaxy. We showed the Valarians and everyone else what it means to be human. The battle for Grom 4 was a turning point, not only in military terms, but also as a profound statement to the galaxy. Humanity had transformed from a beleaguered species on the defensive to a formidable force, capable of not only surviving, but dictating the terms of engagement in the cosmic arena. As the first glimmers of dawn broke over the ruined landscape of New Moscow, the message was clear. The galaxy's deadliest species wasn't the one with the most ships or the biggest guns, but the one with the unbreakable will to fight back against any odds. With the tide of the war shifting, the human forces, now led by Captain Daniel Rohr aboard the KD Varak, pressed their advantage. The commandeered warship, a symbol of Valarian technological prowess, had become an icon of human resilience and tactical ingenuity. Its presence in skirmishes was not just strategic but also deeply symbolic, demoralizing to the Valarians and galvanizing for the human ranks. As the human-led fleet carved paths through contested zones, Admiral Kasari orchestrated a broader strategy from Earth's command center. Her approach was clear and ruthlessly efficient: disrupt, dismantle, and demoralize. "Our objective is not merely to win battles," she explained in a high-level briefing, "but to collapse the Valarian war structure from within. We strike at their fleets, yes, but we also ignite the flames of rebellion on the planets under their control." This strategy bore fruit faster than anyone had anticipated. The Valarians, stretched thin and reeling from successive defeats, found their supply lines sabotaged and their garrisons under attack not just by human forces, but by emboldened local resistances across the galaxy. The ripple effect of humanity's defiance was reshaping the political landscape of the galaxy. On a strategic level, the humans utilized the Valarians' own network, thanks to the system's access provided by the KD Varak. Lieutenant Harper and her team of hackers and engineers became instrumental in these operations. "Every piece of data we pull from this ship gives us another opening," Harper remarked during a tactical review. "Their encryption, their fleet movements, even their command protocols are now vulnerabilities we can exploit." Meanwhile, on the ground in various systems, the scenes of liberation were profound. On the mining planet of Zaltron 5, long oppressed by Valarian overseers, the local population rose in revolt the moment the human fleet appeared in their skies. Armed with weapons smuggled in by covert human operatives and fueled by years of pent-up rage, the miners overthrew their guards and seized control of the planetary operations, effectively cutting off one of the Valarians' main sources of raw materials. These uprisings were not isolated incidents. They spread like wildfire, each victory inspiring another, each act of defiance adding to a growing legend of a galaxy freeing itself from the yoke of Valarian domination. Back on the KD Varak, Captain Rohr watched the reports come in, each one a testament to the changing tide. "We're more than fighters. We're a beacon," he said to his crew. "Our actions here send a message across the stars. We're not just reclaiming territory, we're reclaiming hope." The psychological impact on the Valarian Dominion was catastrophic. The once unquestionable superiority of the Valarian military was now a subject of doubt even within their own ranks. In the high chambers of the Valarian Dominion, heated debates and accusations flew as leaders struggled to grapple with the rapid disintegration of their authority. The High Council convened in emergency sessions, with Admiral Ronick facing fierce criticism. "You assured us the humans were insignificant, a minor threat," one council member accused, his voice echoing in the chamber filled with the galaxy's most powerful leaders. Admiral Ronick, his usual arrogance subdued by the weight of the unfolding disaster, responded with uncharacteristic hesitance. "They are unlike any foe we have faced," he admitted. "Their adaptability, their will to fight, even in the face of overwhelming odds, it's unprecedented." The fear that now gripped the Valarian leadership was palpable. They had awakened a dormant force, one that did not bow to superior firepower or numbers, but grew more resolute with each challenge. As the human forces prepared for another major offensive, aimed directly at a key Valarian command hub. The stakes were higher than ever. A victory here could decisively shift the balance of power, signaling not just the potential end of Valarian dominion, but the rise of humanity as a preeminent force in the galaxy. This next move would be critical, a definitive strike intended not just to weaken the Valarians further, but to shatter their morale and will to continue the conflict. As the human fleet gathered, the galaxy watched, holding its breath, as the underdogs prepared to deliver what they hoped would be a crippling blow to their oppressors. As the human fleet amassed for the pivotal assault on the Valarian command hub, the stakes were understood by every soldier, pilot, and strategist involved. This was not merely another battle. It was a direct challenge to the Valarian Dominion's heart, a strike aimed at crippling their operational capabilities and shattering their grip on the galaxy. Captain Daniel Rohr, aboard the KD Varak, spearheaded the assault. The stolen warship, now fully integrated into the human fleet and retrofitted with human technology, symbolized the turn of the tide. It was not only a weapon, but a declaration of humanity's ingenuity and resilience. "Today, we redefine the future of this galaxy," Captain Rohr addressed his crew, his voice resolute and inspiring. "Our goal is not just victory, but a new dawn for all species oppressed by the Valarian Dominion. We fight for freedom, for peace, and for a new order." The battle plan was meticulously crafted. Human intelligence, greatly aided by the data extracted from the KD Varak, had identified key vulnerabilities in the Valarian defense grid surrounding their command hub. Lieutenant Harper and her team had disrupted Valarian communications, sowing confusion and delaying their response time. As the human fleet approached the target, the Valarians scrambled to mount a defense. However, the chaos sown by disrupted communications and the fear instilled by the humans' previous victories hampered their efforts. The once formidable Valarian fleet was reactive, not proactive, struggling to adapt to the humans' unconventional and audacious tactics. The battle commenced with a barrage of long-range missiles from the human fleet, designed to cripple the Valarian defenses and disable their orbital platforms. Following the initial salvo, squadrons of human fighters swarmed through the gaps, engaging Valarian ships in intense dogfights. Captain Rohr directed the KD Varak to breach the main defense perimeter, using its heavy armaments to target the command hub directly. On the ground, resistance movements in nearby systems saw the assault as the signal to rise in full force. Uprisings flared across multiple worlds, further stretching the Valarian military resources. News of the human offensive and the simultaneous rebellions flooded the galaxy, broadcasted by human sympathizers and independent media, inspiring hope and bold action across countless oppressed systems. Admiral Kasari, coordinating the broader war effort from Earth, monitored the progress of the battle with a calm, strategic eye. "Push forward," she commanded her fleet commanders. "Every second we hold the initiative costs the Valarians dearly. We are not just fighting to win a battle, we are fighting to end their reign." The turning point came when a daring maneuver by a human commando team succeeded in landing on the Valarian command hub. They fought their way to the central control room, planting explosives and securing critical areas. This bold ground assault ensured the hub's incapacitation, severing the head of the Valarian military command structure. As the command hub was neutralized, the Valarian forces, now leaderless and in disarray, faltered. The human fleet pressed the advantage, clearing the space around the hub of remaining Valarian vessels. The battle, fierce and costly, tilted irreversibly in favor of the humans. In the aftermath, the debris of Valarian ships and the silent, damaged command hub served as a stark testament to the battle's intensity and its significance. The Valarian Dominion, which had ruled through fear and force for centuries, had been dealt a critical blow from which it could not easily recover. Back on the KD Varak, Captain Rohr allowed himself a moment of solemn reflection. The cost had been high, but the outcome marked a significant moment in galactic history. Humanity had not only defended itself, but had taken up the mantle of liberators, reshaping the political landscape of the galaxy. As the fleet began the work of securing the area and assisting in the liberation of nearby systems, the message was clear. The age of Valarian dominion was ending, and a new era, heralded by human courage and determination, was beginning. The galaxy, once ruled by fear, was witnessing the dawn of a new era of hope and collaboration. In the wake of the decisive victory at the Valarian Command Hub, the galactic landscape began to shift dramatically. The Valarian dominion, once a monolithic force of oppression and control, was now critically weakened. Across the galaxy, species that had lived under the shadow of Valarian rule began to breathe the air of freedom, some for the first time in generations. Captain Daniel Rohr, standing on the bridge of the KD Varak, looked out into the vastness of space, contemplating the new responsibilities humanity had shouldered. "We've shown that the Valarians are not invincible," he reflected to his crew. "Now we must show that we can lead, not with domination, but with cooperation and respect." As the news of the Valarian defeat spread, human diplomatic channels became inundated with communications from various planetary systems seeking guidance, protection, and partnership. Admiral Kasari, tasked with the reconstruction and stabilization efforts, coordinated a series of conferences and summits. The goal was clear: to establish a new, more equitable galactic alliance that would prevent the rise of another dominion like the Valarians. On Earth and other human colonies, celebrations erupted, but they were tempered by the memories of the long and brutal conflict. Memorials were erected not only for the human lives lost, but also for the countless alien allies who had fought and died alongside them. The war had forged bonds of solidarity and mutual respect among diverse species, bonds that would become the foundation of the new Galactic Order. Meanwhile, on liberated worlds, the process of rebuilding began. Human engineers and alien technologists worked side by side to restore damaged infrastructures and to innovate new systems that would ensure a more prosperous and secure future. Educational and cultural exchanges flourished, fostering a deep mutual understanding and respect among the galaxy's diverse inhabitants. Amidst these positive developments, the remnants of the Valarian military, scattered and leaderless, attempted to regroup and retaliate. However, without a unifying command and facing widespread insurrection within their controlled territories, their efforts were largely ineffectual. The once feared Valarian fleet was reduced to a shadow of its former self, hunted relentlessly by combined human and allied forces. In a historic session held at the newly established Galactic Council, representatives from hundreds of systems, including former Valarian worlds, ratified a new charter. This document, crafted with input from a wide array of species, emphasized mutual defense, economic cooperation, and cultural exchange. Captain Rohr, representing humanity, addressed the assembly, his words broadcast across countless worlds. "Today marks not the triumph of humanity, but the triumph of unity over tyranny. We have been given a rare second chance to build a galaxy that values life and liberty for all its inhabitants. Let us be guardians of peace, not bearers of arms." As the galaxy began to heal and rebuild, the KD Varak, once a symbol of Valarian oppression, was repurposed as a deep space exploration vessel, its mission redefined to seek out new life and new civilizations to boldly extend the hand of friendship into the unknown. The transition was not without challenges. Skepticism and old grievances threatened to undermine the fragile peace. Yet the shared experience of liberation and the common goal of preventing the horrors of the past from repeating kept the newly formed alliance steady. Years later, historians would mark these events as the beginning of the Age of Reconciliation, when the galaxy, led by humanity's example, stepped back from perpetual conflict and chose a path of collective prosperity and mutual respect. As the sun set over the horizon of a peaceful Earth, children learned about the war not to glorify battle, but to understand the importance of resilience, the power of unity, and the enduring quest for peace. Humanity had not only survived, it had transcended its darkest moment to light a beacon of hope for the galaxy.